First off, guys, I want to say what an amazing year for gaming so far. From the Dead Space remake to Hi-Fi Rush and to all the PSVR 2 games that I've been playing this year, it has been filled with non-stop bangers. But recently I've been thinking to myself, man, I really need a good Metroidvania. And then one day, out of nowhere, I got an advertisement for a game called Vernal Edge. And having heard nothing about it, I did a little bit of research on it and found out that, hey, it is a Metroidvania. So I went and purchased it right away, basically blind to anything about it. And let me tell you, this game was such a pleasure to play. But before we get into today's review, don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you're feeling extra saucy, go ahead and hit that bell notification. Let's get to it. Vernal Edge is essentially a story of revenge. A story of a girl out to kill her father after he abandons her and her mother, leaving them both to die. The game starts off with her well on her path to end his life when she meets Chervil, a robot with a human soul and no memory of his past. After a brief introduction, you both realize you have the same goal, though Chervil is in no condition to actually attain it. And the both of you go on to steal a ship. Well, kinda, but I'll leave it at that, but I don't want to give any spoilers. With the ship in your possession, you now have the ability to travel from island to island, and through these travels, you'll meet many characters and obtain new abilities. In this capacity, it reminded me a lot of a game called Islets, which actually was one of the first Metroidvanias that I reviewed on this channel. The standout part of Vernal Edge, though, is it has its own identity through and through, unlike Islets. And while I wasn't particularly charmed by the characters that I got introduced to right off the bat, by the end of my 15-hour or so adventure, I was completely invested in her story. And the payoff via boss fights that, again, I won't spoil, left their mark on me. Gameplay in Vernal Edge is its meat and potatoes, and arguably carries every aspect of this game, no joke. It's fast and responsive and just so damn fun to pull off combos. I'll do my best to give you a breakdown, but this is something that you truly need to experiment with yourself. Your quick slash allows you to build up your pulse meter while doing incremental damage to your opponent. Holding down your quick slash charges into a heavy that once more does damage and 2 has the ability to stun enemies. Once you build up your pulse meter enough, you're able to do pulse attacks that simultaneously continue your combos, heal you, and do massive damage to your enemies. Couple all that with different spells that you'll obtain along the way, as well as a chip system that acts as augmentations for passive abilities, very much like Ghost Song, and you have a deeply complex and nuanced system that allows for a ton of customization as well as being accessible. And I'm sure there's a couple other things I missed, but let's move on. Platforming, on the other hand, while good, was never great. I've always been of the mindset that if you're not going to present a challenge, then why even put something in there? And most of Vernal Edge's platforming challenges stem more from annoyingly rigid control schemes as opposed to actual challenge, which is a shame because with a little more polish and more thought into the environmental platforming, this could have been another stellar feature of gameplay because the different abilities that you get along the way, like the wall run and this pulse blast ability, could have been so much fun to navigate with. All in all, Vernal Edge on the PS5 was an absolute blast to play, and definitely filled my void of Metroidvanias that I've been feeling lately. There were a few issues that I had with the game that I'd like to mention right now that kept it from being an all-time great. One, I felt the map was really cumbersome to try to read and made exploration at times frustrating. 2, the main hub city that you're introduced to in the beginning of the game really was a letdown because there never was any real meaningful reason to go back except for a few shopkeepers. And 3rd, this game, in my opinion, has some of the worst trophies for a game in recent memory. Listen, I'm all for not giving participation trophies, but after having explored so much of this game to end up with only 5 out of 17 trophies, kinda felt like overdoing it. With that being said though, I absolutely recommend this game. From the awesome music score, the delightful art style, and the stellar combat, This truly feels like a hidden gem worth talking about, and I'll definitely be keeping my eyes peeled for anything else from the talented devs at Hello Penguin Team for more content. The game's an 8 out of 10, take it or leave it. Thanks for watching.